What's happening, people? And once again, welcome back to youtube.com/CubCamTV for this, another edition of Cub Reacts, as we jump into an exclusive full album review of one of the biggest projects to drop so far this year. I'm really excited to get into this, as always. But if you are new to the channel, please make sure you're getting involved by hitting that subscribe button on the right-hand side of the page. Of course, turning notifications on, leaving a like, leaving a comment, and all of that good stuff. So today, as you can probably tell by the title, we are going to be checking out Rema's Rave and Rose's album project. Now, this one dropped last week. With these album reviews, I always try to give it a little bit of time before we actually jump into the full review itself, just so I can have a few listened through, have a general breakdown of what's going on, obviously get some actual individual reactions up as well. We've covered a lot of tracks off this project now, I think 5 or 6 in total, so we are now going to break down the project in full. But don't worry, we have got some more content coming on the way. We are going to be getting into another edition of the ranking alongside Just Vibes. That's going to be happening. We're recording that on Friday, so that should drop very, very soon. But there we go. We are going to get into this. Obviously, this is a very long-awaited project, kind of being seen as the full debut album. Obviously, he had a project drop a little while ago, but it didn't really feel like an album in the way it came together. This feels like a specially designed, very much uniquely crafted album project, very much showcasing where Rema is. There are tons of reactions out there already to the project. It's pretty much priority leaning towards successful. Most people are leaning towards this being a very good project that people can definitely get behind. There are a few people out there who are saying they are a little bit disappointed with it, though. So we are basically going to break down on today's episode whether or not it lived up to the hype. So, Sonic's track listing, overall feel of the project, I think are all solid. I think it gives such a wide range of styles. Obviously, London's on production for a big chunk of the project. His general soundsmithing in regards to the sort of background instrumentals and things like that does a fantastic job. The overall sort of scope of what goes on within the album feels like this is definitely a look at what Rema is currently doing. And I think more than anything else, I feel this is a wicked statement from Rema saying, this is my sound, this is what I'm here to do. It's versatile. There are a lot of different avenues to it, so either get on board the train or leave it behind. That's the sort of vibe I got off the project overall. In regards to collaborations, there are a few on there. Not too many overall, but the ones that are on there are all very, very solid. So, yeah, let's dive into the overall breakdown on this one. Now, I have made a load of notes, as you'll be able to see me looking at my screen. I like to make sure I do these reviews properly. I get my journalistic pen out, even though I can't find the pen. There's the pen. There's the pen. I do write down a load of notes when I'm listening to the project, just to make sure we can get all of our thoughts across in these scenarios. So, we do open up with Divine, which I've read is actually Rema's first name. That's his government name. So it's a cool way of kind of opening up. Obviously, the trap-like drums, hypnotic guitar melodies, and the pounding kick drums below do kind of give way for this one being a kind of return to Rema's more rap-influenced roots. He's said numerous times that he's a rapper first and foremost, and I think when you look back over a lot of his previous work a few years back in sort of 2018, 2019, he's kind of doing this sort of style. So this is a really cool way of kind of throwing back to where he originally comes from musically. Good start, very solid, very bumping tune, and it sets pace very, very nicely. Moving into track number 2 then, Hold Me. This sees us return to a realm which we've very much grown accustomed to with Rema, utilising booming bass notation. The bass line on this one is very, very strong, and more of the sort of stripped back, smooth sounding drum work, and it gives us a very intricate vocal pattern that we hear Rema really go to town on. This is the Rema that we kind of expect to hear now. This is like his home ground. This is like his bass line. This is where he kind of expands from across the breadth of the album. But again, on this we do actually hear we also hear Six Lack's vocal on this one as well, which gives us a really kind of cool post-electronica feel. All of the instrumentation goes very kind of digitalized and glitchy around his vocal. But again, it's a really cool addition, and it's a solid start off the first 2 tracks, in my honest opinion. From here, we move into the more vibrant drum work and very catchy horn riffs of Dirty. Really, really cool move on this one. This is being kind of cited as a bit of a fan favorite so far, and it delivers one heck of a punch without a shadow of a doubt. Again, we get to hear these sort of silky string lines that appear numerous times throughout this album project, working in line with slower rhythms, and it creates a really dreamy kind of landscape. And we know this is an area in which Rema really, really thrives vocally. And then following on from this, we get into the unconventional arrangements of Calm Down. Again, very wooden, very guitar-led, taking us down a much more kind of abstract avenue again. I won't talk about this tune for too long because we have put together a full reaction on it, and obviously I don't want to just repeat what I've said, so you can check out the full reaction to this one on the channel. This is one of the first tracks from the album we did actually react to. But there we go. Moving forward, the next two tracks we've also put full reactions for. Obviously, Soundgasm, this was one of the first tracks we reacted to from Rema, one of my favourite releases of 2021, without a shadow of a doubt. Huge release, this one, and again, I love the overall feel of it, just the overall vocal, the vocal kind of direction, the haunted style harmonics we get on it as well. Fantastic stuff. And also Time and Affection, of course, alongside Chris Brown, one of the biggest collaborations of the year so far. And again, I've said numerous times that I think this is a perfect collaboration sonically. They work really well together. It's a very extended tune. You get loads of extensive work from Chris Brown on there as well. It's more of a straight collaboration than a feature. So yeah, definitely check out this one. Obviously, the last three tracks I've mentioned all have reactions up on the channel. Time and Affection, Soundgasm, and of course Calm Down. You can check all of them out now. From here though, we move on to more original material, brand new for the album itself, kicking off with Joe. A smooth display, again seeing Rema move into his sort of kind of very, I feel, classic at this point, sort of wailing vocal tones, the higher pitched harmonics that he's able to hit, and they work really well on this one, bringing a much more kind of Eastern inspired set of melodic moves with a similar backdrop coming through then on Mara as well, the next track, except this time it's pushed forward with, again, more of those, again, sounding classic at this point strings. We hear them on a few Rema tunes. The strings seem to be an element that he brings forward quite a lot, and they're never sort of happy strings. They're always quite eerie strings, very atmospheric strings, and they tie into his sound really, really nicely. And again, I feel these kind of two tunes here are a section that long-term Rema fans will really, really enjoy. Love then arrives, and it gives us another smooth helping of classic Rema with this now extended middle section of the album, feeling like a bit of a calm before the storm scenario. Again, all tying into sort of classic Rema sounds. These are all what we would kind of expect to hear on a Rema album. I wouldn't necessarily say they're filler, but I feel these tunes are the kind of ones we want to hear. You know, these are the tunes that you expect to hear. These are the tunes that you can kind of go back to at a later date and go kind of, oh, that was a banger, actually. I didn't realise. People won't pay enough attention to these middle three, I feel, when you look at the tracks around them. But these are the three that I feel pretty much summarise what Rema is currently up to. But obviously, this is a bit of a calm before the storm because we then move into Addicted, which is nothing short of outstanding, if I'm being entirely honest. It's a 4-minute 30 thrill ride through explosive post-80s flavour, exploring Rema's true creativity and London's extensive production palette. I was blown away by this one during our reaction, and again, you can check out the full thing on the channel, but this was very unexpected. The strangest thing is that I listened to a Fireboy DML tune that went down a very similar pattern. I think it's called, might be called Favourite Song, I'm not entirely sure. But again, this sort of post-80s electronic feel, but Rema absolutely smashes it. There are a lot of kind of echoes of what The Weeknd's doing right now on this tune, but again, check out the full reaction on the channel if you want to hear more about my thoughts on this one. But overall, really, really nice, I've got to say. Are You There then sees us move into a much more kind of electronic sounding creation with booming bashment style bass lines, which I really, really like. A set of vibrant rhythms kind of run throughout the middle of this one as well, giving Rema a stripped back yet explosive approach. This is a cool interlude, and on a 16-track album, this would be the point where normally things would start to turn stale. However, I think the switch up that this and of course Addicted bring do keep my ears interested. Like when you're putting together I'd say an album that's over 14 tracks. If you're then doing it and you are kind of taking it in different directions, you're a lot more likely to maintain a listener's interest than just kind of doing the same thing over and over. I'm very happy that he had the three sort of tracks in the middle that kind of are classic Rema, but then these two following on from it allow him to kind of show, no, this is an album, it's a full showcase of what we do sound-wise. It's a very clever piece of track listing arrangement. And then, of course, we jump into FYN with AJ Tracey, a wicked collaboration, one of the other tracks we have already reacted to. Again, a lot of tracks on this album we have reacted to. I did say at the start, and I don't want to like repeat what I've said, but this was a tune that I really, really enjoyed. I love the whole approach to it, the almost like Miami style feel of the kind of I think there might be clarinets involved on there, but just the whole sort of feel of the woodwind sections on this one give it a really nice sort of different feel. Just makes me feel like I'm driving through Miami. But again, AJ Tracey absolutely kills it with his verse. A wicked international link-up. Definitely check out the full reaction to that one. We then move into Aroma Baby, another one we have reacted to on the channel, but this one gives us a circulating display of more mellow Afrobeats-influenced switch-ups. Again, allowing us to dive into a slower wind whilst we're listening through, complete with typically quirky melodic flicks on this one. Again, whenever we hear Rema tunes, we want these kind of unusual melodic twists, and this one is packed to the brim with those. This leads nicely then then on to Carry, which for the first time on the album is where I would say my listening interest begins to dwindle, but only a tad. I feel this could have actually worked as one of the lead singles, if I'm being entirely honest. The tune is great, but by this point I feel we have heard this before. We've heard the kind of classic Rema, we've heard Soundgasm, we've heard what this tune offers. So I feel to an extent it may have been a good idea to put this earlier on in the track listing and maybe get more experimental as you go. But the tune itself isn't bad. This is just where my ears kind of go, okay, we've heard this before. Maybe this is possibly a skip track, but not necessarily because it's a bad tune, purely because we have heard everything that this track does on this album already. But it just feels a tad late. That's all I'll say. But it's a wicked tune, regardless. Alongside this, then, 2 more to go. We get Wysul, I believe it's pronounced, vocals, and a nice additional touch on Heavenly Flare next on Wine. As you hear the intensity start to drift out of the album, it's a very solid way to begin rounding off what's going on, with the extended sounds of Runaway then closing things off with a charming bounce topped with emotional strings and then some bulbous bass lines below. A very interesting thing about this album that I will say, more than anything else, is that the actual track length of each individual song on there is very, very long. There's a lot of material on this album. It's a very long runtime for a 16-track album, which again could, for a lot of people, maybe cause this one to have a dwindling interest towards the end. But each individual track itself stands very strongly on its own. Overall, would I say it delivers the hype that people wanted? I would say yes. I didn't get bored throughout. There was merely a tiny point where my listening interest dwindled slightly, but overall, I would say this is exactly what Rema fans have been looking for, and that's why the overall response online has been primarily positive. But guys, let me know your thoughts on this one down below. I'm keen to hear from each and every one of you about your thoughts on the album, your favorite track. Are there any tracks that you feel shouldn't be on there? Let me know in the comment section down below, because I'm keen to hear from each and every one of you. And of course, if you are new to the channel, please make sure you are getting involved. You can follow me on Patreon now. This is a great way to support what we're doing here on the channel. Exclusive content, requested reactions, and of course you can vote on upcoming DJ content and album listens as well. Go and subscribe to the Patreon and get involved. It helps support the channel and it allows me to make a lot more video content for you guys to enjoy. So there we go. As always though, if you are new to the channel, please make sure you're getting involved by hitting that subscribe button on the right hand side of the page, turning notifications on, leaving a like, leaving a comment, and all of that good stuff. And we shall see you all next time, my friends. Peace.
Sounding so good right now. But they're sounding a bright and town.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, CubCamTV. Stay locked.